Hey, what's going on, everybody? Cody Pasby here, and welcome to the first episode of our brand new baseball card podcast here on Mojobreak Media, Wax Packs, and Warning Tracks. I can't begin to tell you how difficult it was to figure out a baseball podcast name that doesn't already use a baseball term used by another podcast and also make sure it rhymes with a baseball card thing, but we did it, and here we are. And we're going to have a good time all season long on the podcast. We start things off with a conversation with baseball YouTuber Rydog54. If you haven't checked out his stuff on YouTube yet, I highly recommend it. The guy knows his baseball cards. He knows his prospects. So we talked about that, talked about the big prospects getting called up prior to opening day, and previewed the 2022 baseball season on the field and in the hobby. Check it out. Somebody recommended us, like there was somebody in the comments on one of our videos. They were like, you gotta get Rydog on. That guy knows prospects. This dude knows his prospects. And yeah, we watched the videos and I'm like, not lying. This guy knows his prospects, man. So I appreciate you coming on to kind of just break down the season, to start things off. Cause man, I'm just like so excited to actually like talk baseball, rather than talk about, it was an exhausting off season. So it's nice to actually like talk about baseball and on the field stuff. So thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, of course, Cody. I appreciate having me on. No, yeah, with so much uncertainty in the off season, it's just like, it's nice to be able to take a breath and just know that there's going to be a season.
Yeah.
So super excited about that.
Exactly, man. So this is something going into the year as for baseball card collectors. I feel like everybody's got like their own strategy for like how they collect, who they're collecting going into a season. I know for me, like I go a little bargain hunting. I look at like Topps Chrome rookies that I think are undervalued. What's your strategy? Like when you go into a season, when are you buying like for the 2022 season? When did you start like collecting some singles or start your new collection or guys that you're looking forward to? And I guess, yeah, just your strategy overall going into a season when you're trying to build up that PC.
No, for sure. So there's a few different ways I go about it. I'm kind of all over the place with my collection. I have like 30 guys like PC, but no, it's pretty challenging at times. I know most people in the hobby, if there's anyone new listening to the podcast, for baseball generally the best time to buy low is end of November, December, like Christmas time.
Yep.
Whether people are saving money for holidays or whatever it is, that is typically the dip for baseball. So that's when I'll try to like target a bigger card. But I also do a lot of bargaining stuff. I do similar things like you do when you said you're just looking for, what's the cheap Topps Chrome rookie card right now. Thing I like to do is like, I'm a big prospect guy, obviously. After like, say, like when 22 Bowman comes out, I'll probably give it a couple months, let the product kind of die down a little bit, the hype. And I'll go back. I'll just like put in eBay search and just say like Bowman Chrome rookie auto or Bowman Chrome first auto. And I'll just filter it from like lowest price. And I'll just kind of go through those guys and I'll just like look up their stats and like see what they're doing. And that's how I bargain hunt for prospects. But similar style for current players too. I always kind of do both as like a safe buy and then like a dark horse kind of like riskier purchase. So like, especially with the hobby market coming down a little bit, it's been a little more like kind of a flat line, not like it was during the pandemic where it's like you could buy literally anyone and it's gonna go up.
Yeah.
Like literally anyone, which is awesome at the time, which is awesome. But now I'm kind of just like my safer purchases are kind of just like the Bryce Harpers, the Mike Trouts, the Juan Sotos, like who are the top guys right now? They're projecting to be Hall of Famers. Like that's like the safe buy right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's ever a bad idea. I know it's like, I feel like all the advice that you just said is exactly how I feel, which is like, it's not the sexy thing to say, right? Like you want to be like, yes, go buy as much Bobby Witt, go buy, do it all. It's like, no. It's probably better. Like, I like to just like, I do the same sort of thing. Like I'll look at like a collection of like 25 sort of lower, like not big name, like first Bowman refractors from the draft set, and just buy that for like, half the price of like what you're going to get for maybe a Marcelo Meyer or any of the big time prospects, just because you never know. Like, obviously it's nice to have the big time guys in your collection, but like it's such a it's such a crapshoot. Like those first few years, like you just have no idea who's gonna be making it. You mentioned like those blue chip guys. I want to talk about some veteran guys because I have a few guys in mind that I have for like sleeper guys that are sort of maybe post type or just like kind of slept on. Any guys that you think are big time sleepers? I know you had a video about some big prospect sleepers. Any veteran guys that you are adding to the collection that you think are maybe undervalued right now or maybe are destined to have a big year in 2022?
Yeah, so some veteran guys that have kind of, I don't want to say fallen off the scene a little bit, but are definitely not on that like elite level anymore, I feel like. And I mean, one, Mookie Betts his stuff has come down a lot lately. I know he's still considered like a top player, but he like traditionally in his career is like an every other year guy. Like, and this would be his every other year is this year. So like last year he struggled a little bit. He might bounce back and do huge things this year. Like he could win MVP. He's one of my dark horses this year. Is like, he's not as flashy as some of these other guys that are going to go out and hit 40 plus home runs, but he does everything else right. So Mookie Betts
it's easy. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like it's easy,
good.
especially this year, like to get lost in the shuffle with Mookie because Freddie Freeman is there, and there's all these. I feel like he's kind of taken the spotlight right now, and Mookie kind of had a down year last year. I think even at his peak, he was really undervalued considering the type of player he was. Like you look at like his first few years, like there was a moment where we were like saying, oh, he's like having Trout level production right now. And I don't think that the hobby and collectors caught up,
Yeah. I would say for about maybe like a 6-month period in like the peak of the pandemic during that short season, his prices were crazy. And where they're at now compared to that is like, they're so affordable. So like, he's one of the guys. Another guy is like someone like Aaron Judge. I know he's a little bit older, but like, face of the Yankees, I mean, could easily win MVP this year if he just stays healthy and does his thing. Like he could walk out this year and hit 60 home runs if he gets hot. Like, I mean, obviously that's a reach, but like that is the type of talent that he has if he's healthy. And then another guy I like, and I don't know if he's quite a veteran yet, but I keep saying Luis Robert's going to stay healthy one of these years. And what that dude can do is it's crazy. If he stays 100%. Healthy, he could put up some like crazy Mike Trout numbers. Like what he hit last year, like 330 in the short amount of time he played. Like it's crazy. Like the dude, insane talent.
You were speaking my language right now. Like I could not believe, like obviously the high end stuff is going to be the high end stuff, but like his low end stuff plummeted this offseason. Like a guy who was like the face of baseball card collecting in 2020. And I thought I think I bought that card right here. I think I bought this. It's a base chrome. It's PSA 10. It's Luis Robert. Like that was a big pull back in 2020. I think I bought it for about $50 on eBay.
And I think a PSA 10 right now, I think it's all the way down to like $25-$30.
Jeez.
Like it is.
Gosh, I went a little too early, clearly.
It's crazy. I bought my first one at $120. I was like, this dude's it. Like this dude's the future of baseball. Like this dude's the closest thing we've seen to Mike Trout as far as physical capability in a long time. Like just this gigantic muscular dude that's super athletic. But I bought the hype and I'm still buying the fall. Like I'm just waiting. Hopefully it pans out, but
I couldn't agree more. Like you mentioned it, like his second half last year, he was playing at like an MVP level. I think he's like, if I had to pick right now, which we'll probably make some predictions, some picks later on here, but he's my MVP pick in the American League. I really like him as the AL MVP. The stats last year don't lie. He's got the flash. He's on the right team too. That team, I think, like up and down. If you look at every single facet of that team, I can't see a weak spot. The lineup is awesome. The rotation, they lose Rodon, and they're still, I think, the best rotation in that division easily. And the bullpen, even with the loss of Kimbrel, is still really good. So he's on the right team. He's got the talent, and he's got the hype too. Like people want him to succeed. And it's only going to take I think it's going to be like Vlad Guerrero Jr. last year, where I think things kind of dipped. And the moment he looked like he was for real, everybody remembered why they were collecting him and why they bought into the hype for Vlad Guerrero.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And like you said, the White Sox, like even their rotation is still strong, like you said, but I could see them being a deadline. Like, all right, who's the big vet that we can go get to carry this team in the playoffs? Like, if they like, that's the one thing I want to see that team do, because they're right there in that World Series conversation as far as that lineup is nasty. That is one of the best offensive lineups in the league. So
Yeah, absolutely stacked
they got
lineup.
everything.
Yeah, I will give you. Let me just give you a couple of the guys I'm in on right now. I got their cards right here. I thought I was so like, man, nobody's talking about this guy. I'm so savvy. I know my stuff, but now I've seen like multiple, like I've gone on social media and I've seen like multiple big baseball card accounts and trading card accounts be like, Kyle Tucker, get your Kyle Tucker cards. Kyle Tucker on the Astros is so underrated, and he is though. He's really, really underrated. Like he's literally like a top 20 offensive player in baseball last year. And he's what, 25 years old,
Yep.
24, 25, was a top prospect. I think his stuff is super undervalued. And unfortunately, we could speak to this. I think the only thing holding him back is the uniform he wears. And it's not fair to him. He had nothing to do with it. You know, he wasn't on the 2017 Astros. He had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. The whole Astros thing right now is a touchy subject for me because, you know, some of these guys don't deserve the hate that they're getting.
Sure.
Because like, and it upsets me because Kyle Tucker's a perfect example. Yes, what the Astros did was wrong. I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, like, I mean, I personally think, I mean, it's kind of been shown that pretty much every team cheats at some level, but I don't agree with what they did, but I don't agree that, you know, these card prices are affected 5 years later. And Kyle Tucker's a perfect example. He's actually a guy I do PC. He's not one of my guys I'm like high end PCing. Like I don't have any slabbed cards of his, but I probably have like 100 rookie cards of his because I think in 2019 he went 30-30 in the minors. I was like, all right, anyone that can hit 30 home runs, steal 30 bases, I'm collecting your cards. So
yeah,
he's the real deal. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you saw like, and obviously Ronald Acuna is on a different level, but you mentioned like that power speed combo. He's got it, and he plays in a good ballpark for offensive numbers. Man, I don't get why we're sleeping on him so much. Other than he's playing in Houston for the Astros. I got to say, you said it is touchy. What team do you root for? What team do you pull for?
So I'm a Diamondbacks fan. I don't have much to defend. It's the Diamondbacks. 2001 is like all I have, but. Right. I don't know. I always liked the Astros, their lineups that they threw out there. So I don't know. I still like some of the players on that team. Again, I don't agree with cheating. I don't. But I do think some fans particularly take it a little too harsh. Like even Miguel Cabrera came out and was like, I honestly don't care that they did any of this.
That's it. Yeah, I actually didn't know Miggy did that. I didn't know he came out and was like, it's whatever. Everyone does it a little bit. Like, and frankly, like the Red Sox did it a year later, and nobody talks about that. Like, they were an even better team. They were like a historically great team, and no one really talks about it. So
and it sounds like it stemmed from like, if I remember right, like Carlos Beltran and Brian McCann kind of felt like they were kind of leading the way, and they came from New York at the time before that happened. So like the Yankees in on that kind of stuff too. So like, I mean, to me, it's not as big a deal as some people make it, but there's some of these hobby people, they will live and die by that cheating scandal. So we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like it's now, been 3 years basically since we found out about it, and Bregman and Correa and Springer, these guys haven't recovered.
No.
And now you're seeing this effect against guys who weren't even there. I mean, Yordan Alvarez might be an exception, but it's interesting to say. By the way, I'll always be a Mad Bum fan, so I hope he has a nice year. I really do. We'll see. Maybe.
There we go. Yeah, I'm
no DH for. Or DH now, so Bad Bum. Hopefully, he can DH a couple games. I really like to see
it. That would be hilarious. The Diamondbacks might as well just throw him in there every once in a while. But the D-backs to me, they're either going to be terrible this year or they're going to surprise a couple people. Like maybe they could win like 60, 70 games. Like that would be a surprise for me.
It's amazing that I saw the Ketel Marte extension happen, and then I heard like the thinking is like, even though they lost 107 games, do I have that right? 108 games. They're like, no,
somewhere around there.
We want to build around this core. And I'm like, I don't think you're allowed to say that after 100 loss season, but hey, more power to you, I guess. So
I'm happy they kept Cattell. His contract is
he's a
just
great
so
player.
nice. He's such a good player too. A little bit of injury concern that just his hamstrings for whatever reason don't like staying attached. I don't get it, but no, such a good contract, which I mean is valuable in trade value, but I'm happy we kept him because he's cheap and like his extension was like 5 years, 75 mil for someone that's going to probably hit like 310 to 330. Like, dude's good.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about buy low guys, you are already established vets. Ketel Marte too. Like, and I know I think his first cards are on the Mariners, but
Yep.
even still, I think his stuff is like, yeah, he's a really really underrated player. I had another guy, Gavin Lux is my other buy low guy. I felt like an idiot when they signed Freeman, and then it's like, well, Max Muncy's going to play second, but sounds like he's going to get playing time now with AJ Pollock out of town. So
Yep.
maybe that was
Gavin Lux is going to have a chance. I mean, I think I don't want to say this is his last chance because he still is young at the end of the day, but might be his last chance on the Dodgers. That's for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he had some really good numbers in the minor league, so he just got to hit that stride at the major league level. Still a possibility for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And they want to like use him like a Chris Taylor, definitely. Like they want to use him like a Swiss Army knife and just have him play all over the field. So that might be the best thing to happen to him and his value. We'll see. That was kind of a low end bet I took, but it pains me to take a bet on any Dodger, frankly. But I've got a gut feeling about it. But
Same.
Yeah, we can at least agree on that one. That
yes,
no, we don't want to see the Dodgers do well, but they will, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's move over to prospects.
Yeah.
Well, now prospects who are no longer prospects, because I feel like for the hobby, the biggest news heading into opening day is the massive influx of top prospects who are coming up to the majors. I think going into spring training, I thought, okay, Riley Green, maybe Spencer Torkelson, Adley Rutschman, and maybe Bobby Witt. But I thought even then, I was like, conservatively, I think two guys of those four make it. Julio Rodriguez wasn't even on my radar to make it out of spring training. I thought he was going to be I thought it was going to be like a late, like a May call up. I didn't, especially like with the Winker move. I thought that's a lot. That's a kind of a log jam in the outfield. But he's up. Torkelson's up. Green would have been up, but he got the fractured foot. Rutschman probably would have been up, but he had the injury. And obviously, and Bobby Witt Jr. Of those three, which is the guy that you think has the most potential to hold their value going forward into the season?
So I do want to say one thing first. So like it's awesome that they're allowing these prospects to be brought up day one. I think it's sick. Again, there still is dark area with that rule of like they need to be in like the top 2 in rookie of the year to like get that service time. So who knows if they stay up long term or not at the start of the season. I hope they do. But I was talking to someone on Twitter earlier today where it's like it's crazy how the baseball world is kind of, and especially the hobby, is kind of flipped upside down. How it's like right now the biggest thing is these prospects coming up, to where I used to be like always focused on like who's the best player in the MLB right now. So I think that's awesome. And then as far as Bobby Witt Jr., Spencer Torkelson, Julio Rodriguez, so I love all three of them.
Yeah, who does?
But I would say Julio Rodriguez has just been a different specimen in his entire career in the minor leagues. Like, I like Adley Rutschman a lot, especially because of what he brings behind the plate. But like, as far as just like ceiling, Julio Rodriguez is the highest ceiling of all of them. A lot of people say like ceiling of multiple MVPs, like Mike Trout-esque numbers. Wow. Like it's not a lie. Like last year he had his first touch at AA. He hit 362 with a 460 on base percentage and over 1,000 OPS in his first taste of AA. Like, he is a guy that if he hits his stride, which I don't see why he wouldn't. He's literally never struggled in the minor leagues. He's raking in spring training too. Like, he could be an MVP candidate this year if he plays the whole season. Seems to be that good. Like that good.
Literally went back in my seat. I can't believe it.
No,
I like him a lot though. I agree. And you know what? The thing going for him, I think for collectors, like the X factor, I think for collecting is like do people like you as a person? Like, are you a marketable personality? And I think he is such a good personality from what we've seen. And the thing that was so telling to me is that I can't remember if it was the president of baseball ops for the Mariners. I think you remember last year where he went and spoke at some sort of, God, the details are kind of escaping my mind, but he did not have very good things to say about like how the organization is run, and like that's weird things like, oh yeah, no, J-Rod's not coming up this year. We're not doing that because we're gonna push his value. And it's like you just like completely mask off, like just exposing what these guys do and how they penny pinch. And yet he like rolled with the punches. He was so good about it. He was funny. Like that to me, like the moment I saw that, I'm like, this guy, if he could put it together on the field, which clearly he looks like he's doing, this guy's the real deal.
No, yeah, like you said, he's marketable. He's extremely likable. Like I haven't seen anything where it's like, oh man, J-Rod's like a bad person. Like he seems like an awesome guy. And then his size is another thing that's going to help him long term. He is just a specimen. He's like 6'3". It's funny because Baseball Reference has had him listed at 180 for like the last 2 years, and I'm like, there's no way in hell this dude is a $180. And they finally updated. He's 228 now. So but his size is crazy. He's kind super bigger, athletic. Yeah. He can steal bases. Like Julio Rodriguez to me is that guy. I am kicking myself. Like I have one card of his that's like decent. I have a couple stuff at PSA, but I like have his Mega Box Refractor PSA 10, which is like my J-Rod card. But like I'm kicking myself because I've been all over him since 2019, but I really didn't start buying singles, like, or at least higher end singles, until like 2020. And by that point he was pretty expensive. So I was like, dang, like,
yeah, there was a brief window where I think J-Rod's value was like pretty underrated, but yeah, that ship has long since sailed. Bobby Witt Jr., I feel like is going to get the headlines in the hobby. Like, I think that's the guy that we have sort of gravitated to. Like, you are the next chosen one. You're the next Wander. You're the next Lou Bob. Like, you are the guy who is going to take the flag away from them, and like you're going to lead the pack. I really like what I see from him, but I don't want to say like the player himself. I think he's going to be a great player. It's just the mix of like the team he's playing for, they're not going to be as relevant. Whereas like the Mariners are going to be in a playoff hunt this year.
Yes,
the Tigers might even surprise a lot of people. And
Tigers are going to be good. Tigers are going to be solid this year.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like I've been watching some previews and they're like, yeah, Tigers might make a little noise. But no. Eduardo Rodriguez is going over there. Those numbers are going to go up. Green and Torkelson in that lineup. So I think they'll be good. But I think back to Bobby Witt for a second. I think, yeah, the thing that's going to hurt him here is just simply he's playing for KC. If KC could turn it around, maybe, but that's a third place team, maybe fourth at best right now.
Yeah, but I feel the same way. I mean, Bobby Witt, he's a shortstop. That's the sexy position in baseball, right? Like that is the pinnacle of positions, and I think that's why he gets, like you said, he's the chosen one pretty much. But he's also a stud. He's like a 5-tool player. He's super fast. He has a lot of power. Hands are super fast.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous talent. But like you said, he's on the Royals. Like I don't get like why are his prices? I get he's an amazing player and his prices are where they should be based off his talent level. But like there's so many players that have had this hype on worse teams and they haven't hit that pinnacle, I feel like, that he's at right now. And like you said, the Royals are going to be pretty, I don't want to say bad, but they're not going to be good. They're not going to be a good team this year.
No, they fancy themselves a contender, which is really weird, man. They're kind of you know what they are? And I know we're NL West guys, so I feel like they are the American League's version of the Rockies, where they think like, oh yeah, we could compete, but they're like putting together a roster every year that's 72 to 77 wins. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, it's just weird. They
went out and got Greinke, which is cool.
That's a cool story,
to his roots, but like their pitching's not great.
No,
it's relying on a bunch of young guys, and it just doesn't usually work. So, but yeah, Witt's legit. I do think he strikes out a lot. I'm curious to see if he cuts that down once he does hit the pro level. Sometimes you do see those guys struggle in the minor leagues and then figure it out at the high level. I have a couple of theories on that as to why, but no, he's a special talent. I'm super excited to see what Bobby Witt does. I have one big card of his.
Nice.
So this is the one. It's the purple Mojo PSA 10. So it's a nice card. I will say my worst sale as far as where the card's at now. I sold his refractor auto, BGS 95 for $1,000. I think it's like hovering around like $5,000 now.
Yeah.
So I
probably will go up.
I messed up on that one. That one.
You're not really in the hobby until you say that was a big L on my part for that one. I probably should have held on a little longer.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You roll the punches.
And yeah, exactly. And that's going to happen in the hobby. I tell people all the time, like anytime anyone's upset with something they did, I'm like, yo, it's gonna happen. Like you can't avoid that in the hobby. It's like, if you hit everything right, then you're from the future. It's just, and it's not even that I thought he was a bad player. I just thought him being on the Royals, and I knew he was a good player, but like I was $100 into the card. I hit it in a break actually, and then got it graded myself, and then I sold it for like $1,000. So I was like, I made like $900. So that's a win, right?
That's still a win. That's stay positive. That's still a victory. Absolutely. Yeah. For every guy, like I think prior to 2021, I bought Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Kyle Lewis, and balances out. Let's just say that things balanced out.
No, definitely.
It didn't work out. Back to the Tigers real quick, because Torkelson obviously is like a huge story. Riley Green is definitely the guy I think among like baseball pundits and scouts that I think they're really buying into. He looked really good at times this spring, but Torkelson is the guy I think for collectors that they're in on. First baseman, power first baseman, I feel like is so hit and miss in the hobby. Like for every Vlad Guerrero Jr., like let's just compare him to like his own teammate Miguel Cabrera, who I think has really good value. Like it's like he's got a nice floor, but like his ceiling is not nearly what I think like a lot of Vlad's high end stuff, or like guys who don't have a Hall of Fame resume already, I feel like have a higher ceiling than like Miguel Cabrera does, even though, like I said, like if you got a Mickey card, you'd probably doing okay. Yeah. So that's the one thing that I guess that's holding me back with Spencer Torkelson, as much as I like him and I like his bat,
So I feel the exact same way, and I'm a Torque guy. Like he went to ASU. I went to ASU. Like I watched him play a lot.
Your guy, yes.
He's my guy. But I have not bought in really a single card of his yet, because I just think it's overpriced, because kind of similar to what you're saying is like first baseman power hitters. Most of the time their prices aren't great. Like go look at Freddie Freeman. He just won MVP in 2020 and his stuff is super affordable. And Torque is already outpricing him. And like Paul Goldschmidt, he's a big guy for me coming from Arizona. Like possible Hall of Famer once he's all said and done. Had an awesome career, a couple insane seasons in Arizona. And like I have this card of Goldschmidt. It's the PSA 10 Diamond Anniversary.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's amazing. It's one of my favorite cards in my collection. But I bought it for like $300. Like that crazy of a card, how short printed that card is. I don't know what the pop is off the top of my head, but it's like
it's got to be
first baseman. Like it's a first baseman. Like it's just, you don't know. But as far as Torque goes, and I've watched a lot of ASU baseball. I've seen a lot of huge prospects come through there. Like he is the best college hitter I've ever watched. His approach is like, even when he was in college, I was watching him. Like I probably watched 20 games of his in person. And like, I've seen him chase like one pitch out of the zone. And it's like,
jeez,
wow, man, like how are you not swinging at these pitches? And his approach is insane. And like his power is next level, man. Like even yesterday, hit his first home run in spring training. It was 11 pitch at bat against Aaron Nola, who's one of the better arms in the NL. And it was even off the plate and he barely even got it. And it went over the bullpen. It was like, what the heck?
Jeez. I mean, that tells you everything right there. An 11 pitch at bat for a guy who's the rookie, and he hits a bomb off of an all-star level caliber pitcher in the major leagues. Yeah. Like, and he got drafted 2020. Like, this is this is insane. This doesn't happen. Guys don't get called up this fast. Maybe the one thing going for him from a hobby perspective is he's the number one pick. And I
Yes.
think with that
Yes.
carries, like, you become a big number one pick. You enter this like pantheon of like Griffey and Chipper and A-Rod. Like, you enter a different level where you're not, the position doesn't even matter. Like, you
Yep.
are among like the elites of elites. So I think that if you're thinking it from that perspective, I think that's maybe the different angle to take if you're really buying in on Torque.
No, yeah, that definitely affects the prices. His stuff's expensive. Like I said, I'm just waiting. I don't want him to ever do bad, but if he does, I'll be buying everything. I'll be buying everything Spencer Torkelson.
I think
But
best case for him is it's like he has maybe not best case for him, but best case for collectors, I should say. Maybe he has like a good but not great rookie year, and then his stuff goes low in the offseason, and then he looks like the guy at ASU next year, and his stuff just skyrockets.
So he did struggle a little bit in AA and AAA last year as far as just like consistent hitting. Because he got thrown to the Wolves. He played like 30 games in high A, and they're like, here's AA for you. Good luck. I think he hit like 260, but he still had like a 400 on base percentage, and he like not like mid 900s OPS. And then you're like, oh, here you go. Here's AAA. And anyone that's their first year, like, you're not supposed to succeed in AAA. I think he ended up hitting like 240 with like, he still hit like 16 home runs or something, but like, he definitely got thrown to the Wolves and still did pretty good. I mean, he hit 30 home runs in his first year hitting wood bat. That's pretty insane.
That is pretty nuts. So the guy is a special talent. I think we can agree. I mean, again, all these guys we're talking about are
They're
like
insane.
This is I'm really trying to think right now, and maybe it's just that last year I think we were almost starved for like a great rookie, like, and we thought this is it. Like, there's so many rookies, like Alec Boehm and Joe Adell and Joey,
The list
all these
was
guys.
endless.
And then no one really hit. No, I mean, Wander Franco did, but then we had to wait till this year to finally start collecting his rookie stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of guys I like from last year, but yeah, no one really hit. Whereas this feels different. This feels like,
yes,
it's an elite level that we haven't seen this many guys called up, you know?
No, I agree. And I think a reason why the hype is a little bit different this year is because a lot of the guys last year, like you said, the checklist for these rookies were just insane. Like, open any 2021 product, and it's just like every other card's a rookie card. There's so many rookies last year. But I think the big difference is, like, the top 10 prospects last year are pretty much the same top 10 prospects this year. Like, most of the guys that got brought up last year, like I think the highest was probably like Kelnick or Carlson, who was like 15-20 range. So it was like, it's a different level for these guys this year. And I'm here for it. I'm here for the hype. One other thing I did want to say really quick, Riley Green, absolute stud. I cannot wait for him to be up with the Tigers. Like, 5-tool player. That dude might win Gold Glove this year if he plays enough time. Like, he is so good at defense.
He made a catch in one of the spring training games. I think you know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Where he went fully parallel. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in. I'm all in on this guy.
And that was in like 40-mile-an-hour winds or something. Like, it was crazy. Yeah.
They got
so
a lot
good.
of talent.
But yeah, the prospect level is just a little bit different this year. And I'm praying they like, obviously there's going to be people that miss. Some of these guys are going to struggle. It just is what it is. It's baseball. But I just hope they all just come out and ball, because it is going to be insane. And I think the baseball hobby could like really boom off of it. Seeing all these young guys come up.
Yeah, it would be incredible for baseball cards. And just from like an on-field perspective, to go from such a downer of an offseason with the lockout, and like, it's great that we have baseball, and like, that's, let's put it in the past, but like, to have something like that to jump off of, on top of like, you're going to see Vlad again, you're going to see Acuna back, you're going to see a Shohei back, like, all these guys are at the top of their game. And then to have those guys as the next generation all ready to go, man, it would be, baseball needs something like that after what we just went through. It would be so remarkable to see. All right, let's wrap things up and talk about the playoffs. We'll talk about it from a hobby perspective.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Let's just do some playoff predictions.
Let's do it.
Let's start in the National League. We got 6 teams in the playoffs in each league. I have to keep remembering that. I know. So a lot more teams are involved here. A lot more teams, I think, were acting like, I said a lot more. There were maybe about 4 or 5 that basically were not acting like there was another playoff spot to use. There's one actually pretty close to where we're at, about a 45-minute drive up the East Bay, but we don't need to talk about them. Who do you got in the National League? Let's start in the NL West.
Let's do it.
Let's start in the NL West. 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 Let's start in
Dodgers.
Yeah.
it's
It's the Dodgers.
It's painful, but I honestly, I'd be shocked if they don't win the most games this year with that lineup. They brought Kershaw back too. Walker Buehler's going to be a stud. Like, if their pitching holds up even a little bit, they're going to score 6 runs a game. And it's Freddie Freeman, adding him to that lineup is just not fair. It's just not.
And when is Dustin May back? I just was thinking about that. I don't remember because I know he had TJ surgery last year.
Yeah, I think he's still rehabbing a little bit.
Okay,
I know there's definitely a legitimate chance he's pitching this year.
Yeah, if he comes back in the second half in that rotation, I think he's such an underrated addition to the rotation with him and obviously Buehler and Kershaw. Urias,
yeah,
geez.
and the Dodgers, I don't think they've ever really missed this piece because they've always had good lineups, but putting Freddie Freeman in the middle of that lineup is someone that you can straight up rely on is so huge. Just get on base for this dude and something's going to happen. It sucks because it's the Dodgers, but they're going to be so good.
They're going to be really, really good. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement. The Dodgers win this division. It's theirs. It's theirs to have. NL Central. Brewers won last year. I feel like they're kind of the favorite again, right? I don't think anybody really stood out from the crowd.
Yeah, so the Central's interesting to me. I mean, I think the Cardinals are the second best team in that division, but the Brewers are interesting because they're so reliant on their pitching, and pitching can be hit or miss sometimes. Like Corbin Burns is a beast, Brandon Woodlock's a beast. Who's the other guy they got?
Peralta.
Freddie Peralta.
Yeah.
He's awesome too. So it's as long as their pitching's good, they're going to be good. But if say those guys slip up, I could easily see the Cardinals win that division too.
That wouldn't
shock me. The Brewers lineup is not good. The Brewers lineup is not good.
They were a better lineup in the first half, or really not the first half, but there was that 3-month window after the first couple months, maybe from end of May until August, where that lineup was firing on all cylinders, even without Yelich. Willie Adames was raking. From August on, yeah, you're right. That lineup, they're going to need Christian Yelich to play close to his MVP level.
Exactly. If he's able to put up those numbers, then it's a completely different conversation. The Brewers might run away with the division. But it really, I think it's big time on Christian Yelich and that offensive lineup. Because yes, pitching does win championships. I will die on that.
Yeah,
but you have to be able to score. You have to be able to score too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't need to tell me as I'm wearing my Giants sweater. I saw it firsthand for three times. It's them. But the only thing holding me back with the Cardinals, no Jack Flaherty again for a long time. They've done it without him. So maybe that's kind of the reason to believe. I also think they're one of those teams that we're all going to count out, and then they're going to be in October, but I'm not quite ready to buy in on them.
Yeah, so the Central's the Brewers to lose, I would say, though.
Agreed. NL East, Braves, the winners last year. Even though they lose Freddie, I think they're better than they were a year ago.
Interesting, because Braves are going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Mets are going to be really good, too. Really good. DeGrom and Scherzer. We don't know how DeGrom's health is going to hold up, but oh my gosh, if it does. And then the Phillies, man. The Phillies they're one of my dark horse World Series picks.
Ooh.
Bryce Harper seems like he's doing his thing. I know he won MVP last year. He's hitting really good again in spring. He's 29 now. We might just be seeing this past season, the start of Bryce Harper's prime. That used to be the start of the prime right there. It's the 29 to 32 range is supposed to that used to be the number for baseball. So who knows? Maybe Bryce Harper's ready to do his thing consistently now.
I feel like I just blacked out for a second when you're like, Bryce Harper's ready for his prime right now. I'm like, what? Then what did we just watch? That is going to be, and if he does that, then he's I already think he might be a slam dunk Hall of Famer at this point, but that is he might get 100%.
No, yeah.
The beginning of the prime.
Well, that's the level of talent Bryce Harper is. I don't know if you remember when he got brought up, he was I hit a 570-foot home run in high school.
No big deal. Yeah.
No big deal. If Bryce Harper truly I think 2015 when he won MVP, he hit 43 home runs or something. He could do that any year if he gets hot.
Especially in that ballpark.
Exactly. The ball flies over there.
Yeah. So are we going Phillies here in this division? Is that what I'm hearing?
No. I think the Mets win. I personally think the Mets take that division. I think they have this. the strongest pitching.
Yeah, I still got the Braves just because I like the balance of the rotation. I like the Matt Olson move. I was looking into that more. And watching him here, I think there's going to be people who don't know Matt Olson are in for a treat in the East Coast. Like people on the West Coast know what this guy can do. He hits bombs, and he was hitting him in a ballpark that's not friendly for lefties. And he's going to go to a place where it's much friendlier for his swing. Man, he's going to eat. He's going to be at the chop house like every night, basically, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of balls flying in.
He's hitting 30 at minimum this year.
Oh, yeah.
Bare minimum, 30 home runs.
Yeah, that's the floor is 30. And I think the ceiling is we could be seeing 50 for this guy with that swing.
Exactly.
And then your 3 wild card teams. It's such a toss-up.
It's tough. I mean, your Giants are a good club. Again, I think the Cardinals make their way into the wild card somewhere there, and then whoever doesn't win that East is. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see 3 teams from that.
Wow, 3 teams from the NL East.
I think we might.
Yeah.
There's a legitimate chance that happens this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. The Phillies, I just am worried about the defense. I'm really worried about the defense for the Phillies.
That's fair.
Yeah.
With the Phillies, I do want to say one other thing as far as prospects go. Bryson Stott's coming up this year for them. He is legit. Adding his bat into that lineup is going to be a huge thing if he can hit in front of Bryce Harper. It's going to be big.
I don't think I'm as familiar with Bryson Stott. What position is he? I know the name. I just can't remember.
He's a middle infielder, so he kind of can play a little bit of everything. But I know they've been working him a little bit more at third lately. But he can hit.
That's an interesting development.
Yeah, I think last year in AA hit like 300, like 16 home runs. Like he's a good little piece. He's one of my dark horses for rookie of the year in the NL because pretty much all the big names are in the AL. The NL's like, for me, it's Brennan Davis for the Cubs if he does get brought up this year. Bryson Stott, O'Neal Cruz for the Pirates, I think is interesting too.
Yeah. I like O'Neal Cruz a lot. It's just a matter of I don't know what the Pirates are waiting for. If he was called up, be like, cool, that's another guy we could throw in of this like all these guys that the hobby loves. But yeah, whatever. I guess there's just too many good players on the Pirates is what they decided. I like the Giants in there. I personally wish they had added one more bat to the lineup to fill the void that Posey leaves, but they tend to believe in Joey Barton. Gosh, he looks really good right now. He looks like he's the real deal. So I'll go Giants. I like the pitching a lot. I like the Mets in there. Probably it's the 4. I put the Mets, just that pitching. The top of the rotation is just ridiculous. Plus, adding Starling Marte and Mark Canha, I think, is a really underrated move that it happened so early in the offseason that I think we forget it happened. But they're really that outfield has been a question mark for a while, and they really bolstered it. Plus, having Dom Smith now at the DH spot is going to help him as well. So I like what they did, and I'm going to go Padres. I like the Padres.
I forgot about the Padres.
I know.
Honestly. They're good.
There's just too much talent to be out of the playoffs again this year. Plus, Bob Melvin coming in. I think they were like, we need to get on the level of the Dodgers and Giants, and we need to have like the tactician manager. We need to have that guy, the field general sort of manager, and they got it with Bob Melvin. So I think there's just too much talent there to miss it again.
As a D-backs fan, I still really wish they never got rid of Bob Melvin. He's a really good coach. So you're right. Good. I mean, put him with all that talent, probably going to be a pretty good result. So yeah, they're definitely a team that could push a lot of wins. They could win a lot of games. Tatis being hurt helps a little bit, but they still have a good team. Still have a good team without him.
And getting Sean Manaea and Mike Clevenger for a full year too. I mean, that rotation is also, I think, 1 through 5. Snell and Darvish fell off last year, but I think 1 through 5. That's still a really, really strong unit.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like the Padres.
Yeah, American League. Let's start out west. Who do you got?
Dude, I want to see the Mariners do it. I want to see the Mariners do it somehow.
I love it.
They have the team this year. They have the prospects coming up, both rotation-wise. You're going to see a prospect named Matt Brash. I don't know if many people have heard of him. Might have the nastiest slider in the MLB. Like, just look up videos of it. It is a devastating slider. We're going to see him at some point. We're going to see George Kirby probably at some point too. They've added a couple pieces. I really like Jesse Winker getting added to that lineup. See if Kelnick can bounce back this year. I think the Mariners are going to be good. They always screw it up, but I think they're going to be good. My dad's from Seattle, so I'm partial Mariners fan too.
I am totally in agree with you. I love the M's. I've always had a soft spot for the Mariners. So yeah, I'm in total agreement. I love them, and ever since Ichiro and Ken Griffey, I'm all in. AL Central. I've got actually before I moved to AL Central, Astros until they lose it. Basically, that's how I feel. Like until they're out, I'm in on the Astros.
That's true. Astros are a good team. They're a good.
They're
team.
really good, and they got Verlander coming back. So that's I'm in until they prove me otherwise. But I'm rooting hard for the Mariners for sure.
Yeah.
AL Central, I think we could both just like say it in unison.
White Sox.
1, 2, 3, White Sox. Yeah, it's the White Sox division. Like the Twins made some nice moves with Correa. That was crazy. I like the Tigers, but it's the White Sox. I think
so
maybe best in the AL.
My mom's actually from Minnesota, so I'm like a partial Minnesota Twins fan for that too. And it was like 2 months ago, I was like, wow, they're going to be horrible. And then they did make a couple moves. And I'm like, okay, they might compete now, but they're not going to win that division. There's no chance.
No, not quite yet. But yeah, it's that White Sox team. We talked about it earlier. Lou Bob's my MVP. I love that team.
Yeah, I still want to see the White Sox add a vet arm for the playoff push, but they're good. They're good.
Yeah. Very good. American League East, this is the toughest division, I feel like, to figure out. And I feel like it's a boring pick, but Tampa Bay. I still like Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Division.
Okay.
They just until like another one where until they prove it. Plus Wander for a full year. Randy Arozarena, I think, is only going to get better. And a rotation, I think, is really underrated, actually.
Their pitching coach is just special over there in Tampa. They know what they're doing. They can develop pitching better than anyone, in my opinion. But yeah, and Shane Baz, they're gonna have him for probably close to a full season. He's disgusting. He only walked like 13 people last year in the minor leagues. It's tough. There's 4 teams that could win it. I think I gotta go Blue Jays though. I like the Blue Jays
really
a lot.
Close. Yeah,
I like the Blue Jays a lot. It really depends if Robbie Ray is his Cy Young caliber again, or if he's gonna be the Arizona Diamondback Robbie Ray that can't find the strike zone. But they're really good. The Yankees are solid. The Red Sox are just going to get better because
I should mention, I before we move on, I think Ray went to the Mariners, if I'm not mistaken. Went over to
my gosh.
So more reason to believe the Mariners are going to make it. So
there you go.
Yeah. But they get Gausman, they get Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios signed to the extension.
Yes, that's
Alek Manoah, I think, is a very underrated young pitcher.
Yes, my apologies there.
No, it's all good.
There's a lot of movement this offseason.
There was so much movement, and it happened like before Christmas, and then like in like 3 days a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like there's still guys where I'm like, wait, where did you go? Like, you're in Cincinnati now? Like, no one's in Cincinnati now. Why are you?
Yeah, I really like the Blue Jays though. My wife's actually a Yankees fan, so when she listens to this, she's probably gonna be mad at me. But
yeah, no, she can just skip this part. Yeah, yeah. Unless you pick them for a wild card spot, then we're okay.
I do think they're going to be in the wild card spot.
Okay, well there you go. Now you've saved it. Everything's fine. There we go. So Blue Jays, I got the Rays. I've got the Blue Jays as one of the wild card teams as well. I think that I'm going to go Yankees as one of those wild card teams. I think you got 3 teams out of the AL East. There's too many good teams.
Yeah, they're too good.
And
too good of a division.
I want to say the Mariners, and I keep picking this team. I'm like, it's gotta happen at some point. The Angels, I just think it's gotta happen. Like, I think
this has got to be their year, right?
It has to be. It has to be. Shohei now with a healthy Mike Trout, healthy Anthony Rendon. Joe Adell to me is such a big post type guy. If you're looking to buy his stuff, like that is like you want to get at the ground floor. Joe Adell, I think, is going to have a big year at post type, and I like the pitching moves they made. It's just
Syndergaard's healthy, right? Syndergaard's ready to go.
Syndergaard's good to go. Shohei, obviously. Patrick Sandoval, I think, is a very underrated arm. I like a lot about in the bullpen. I think they put together a really nice bullpen.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen now.
I'll be rooting for him. I've been rooting for him since this Mike Trout hype.
Yeah, it's got to happen for Trout. I just want it for him. I really just want it for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like that call, though. So my wild card picks would probably be the Yankees, the Rays, if the Blue Jays don't win it. So one of those 2 teams. So 3 out of the East, and then Mariners or Angels probably going to be fighting for it because you're probably right. The Astros probably take that division.
Yeah, it's not the
They're a little
fun pick.
deeper.
Yeah, just a little bit deeper, but it's not the fun pick. But gosh, I want the Mariners to do it. I really would love to see it happen, and I think it could. I think there's a really good shot that the Mariners can do it. All right, real quick, World Series pick. We've made the playoff picks. World Series pick. Who do you got?
Man, the Dodgers are the easy pick, but I really like the Mets, man. Cohen's not messing around. Cohen's got the money, and that is kind of like my bold pick. Dodgers is the easy one. And then like my super dark horsey pick that no one would ever possibly say that we didn't even mention to make the playoffs. Texas Rangers.
Ooh. If they can get some pitching, if one of those guys, if one or two of those pitchers hit or pitch really, then that lineup is like ridiculous. That lineup is one of the deepest.
It's funny because I think the Nationals and then the Dodgers, like I think like 4 or 5 of their starters were like former Diamondbacks players, and now the Rangers are kind of in that same position. So I was like, I'm gonna throw like $15 on them to win the World Series.
There you go.
Because of that.
Your second team. I totally hear you. So man, that is a wild. So the Mets, I think, probably the safe bet to win the World Series for you.
Yes, that would be my.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had to put money on it right now, put it on the Mets. They got to. If DeGrom and Scherzer can be healthy, man, that's 2-0 in the series right there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm so boring by saying like it's either the Dodgers or the Braves, but I just feel like not enough teams did enough to separate themselves from. They did more to separate themselves from the rest of the pack than anybody else. So I think it's one of those two teams. I'd lean Braves, but it's also like repeating is tough. That's really tough. But I like what they did. I like what the Braves did this offseason, not really losing anything. And clearly they think Ronald Acuna is the guy. We're buying in on him. That's why we let Freddie walk. And then American League, I like the Blue Jays. I know I got the race to win the division, but I like the Blue Jays better in the playoffs. I think their rotation is more set for the playoffs, and that lineup is just ridiculous. So I'll say Braves, Blue Jays. Who wins it? Flip a coin. I don't know. We'll see.
Like it.
But one of those two teams, I think, is going to be.
I am curious if the Braves have a World Series hangover at all. They definitely are set up to be very good, but so were the Cubs in 2016. So is every team that wins the World Series. They end up struggling a little bit out the gate. So
I think the thing going for them is the fact that Matt Olson's there, who's a new guy in the middle of the order, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is when he comes back, he'll be fresh. And he's not going to have that World Series hangover.
So one thing I will say about Ronald Acuna, huge Acuna fan, similar to Vlad Jr. in 2020, that was the first time, the 2020 offseason, the first time Vlad Jr. ever worked out, and then he'd put up the year he did last year as far as in the weight room. I've heard this is the first time Ronald Acuna has ever worked out because of his surgery. So might see another level of Ronnie this year.
Wait, you're telling me he wasn't doing that? He wasn't lifting, bro, and he was.
That's
still
what I've heard.
Doing it?
Yeah, one of my friends did the PT on him, I guess, and I learned that. So
okay, here we go. Right, 50 home run season in with a month off could happen, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah, so
that is wild. Well, hey, Ryan, man, that was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure if you want to get some great info on prospecting, on baseball cards, who you should be collecting, all that good stuff, subscribe. Rydog54 on YouTube. I'm a big fan. I'm glad that one of our commenters directed us to you, and I'm definitely in, man. It's a lot of fun watching your videos. It's great content. So appreciate you coming on. Hope you can come back on someday, and thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Oh, definitely, Cody. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I could do this for another hour. I could do this for probably 2 more hours. But no, thank you so much.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out the podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe. Just search Mojobreak Sports Card Show. That's Mojobreak Sports Card Show. Wherever you listen to podcasts, new episodes drop every Tuesday. Plus, you'll get new episodes of The Hype, Mojobreak's flagship sports card show. New episodes of that drop every Thursday. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.